Hey, welcome back to the channel. In today's quick video, we're going to take a look at how to use range sliders with HTMX. Okay, so we'll jump right into it. I won't cover all the basic setup because we've done that a million times on the channel. And by a million, I mean 3. So we have Main.py with the basic unicorn and FastAPI imports and all that stuff, and one simple endpoint that's returning this essentially empty HTML, and we will add our slider. So we'll go ahead and add a container for the slider just so we can position it a little bit easier, and then the actual input itself. And when I refresh the page, we'll have this little input that does nothing. And if we take a look, the only things that I changed were the type of range, or type 2 range, in order to make it a slider, and then name of range so that we can look it up in the form when we submit the request. This is essentially how we get the data into FastAPI. So we just do a post request with HTMX, and where it gets interesting, or it makes the most sense to actually use, is the hx-trigger, because this is what tells us when to issue the HTMX command. And in this case, it's the hx post that's getting triggered on the change to our slider. So as soon as we click around, we'll start noticing the change. And back in our main.py, we can add an endpoint for that. So /API/filter, the basic stuff. We're returning HTML response. We can get that form data. So an input is still submitting by default form data. So we can pull that with this command, and then we'll extract the range from that form, and we can print it out. So if I go over here, it's auto reloading, so we should just see it right away. And you can see that as I move the slider around, we get the number printed out to the screen. Start to use your imagination to see how you could use this to filter out stuff in a database. Okay, let's get rid of that print statement and bring in some more usable code. So I'll go ahead and make an element for those numbers that we saw at the beginning of the video. So on the index.html, we're going to make an empty container, but with this parameter here, and so the hx swap out of bounds, OOB, that's what it stands for, hx swap, it just means it's going to look anywhere on the page, anywhere at all. So if the IDs are identical, then it's going to perform the swap. Any kind of swap that HTMX allows, you can do it. But the important thing is, whatever the element is, has to have the same ID in order to get replaced. So we're going to iterate over numbers from 1 to whatever value we click on. So from 1 to 20, 1 to 15, and then we're going to add that value, the I right here, we're going to substitute that in there. So this is the actual number. This is the start of the container. And then I'm going to go ahead and close it out here. Realistically, you would use some kind of templating engine. That's essentially it. We return that. And then now when we refresh the page, we can see that we click around, and that's 1 through 4, 1 through 10, 1 through 16. And that was it for using sliders with HTMX. If you have any other questions, any other things you'd want to see, be sure to comment them below and subscribe so you can see them popping up on your feed. And I will see you guys in the next video.